This is a video for everybody who has backed my Kickstarter, I Love the Dreaded Accursed, in June of last year. I've been so focused on making this product the best it can be that I kinda lost track of giving you a proper update of why it is taking a bit longer than expected. So allow me to elaborate on that. Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters. I want to start off with the good news. Everything is being printed as we speak. The adventure is being printed, the handouts are being printed, the dungeon map is being printed, and the dungeon master screen is being printed. And the reason I'm only saying this now is because we had another one of those small delays. The dungeon map, the big A2 size dungeon map, didn't look the way I thought it should look. Now, probably most of you would have gotten it and be like, I'm gonna put this on the table and just play the freaking game because it looks good enough. But for me, it just didn't look good enough to give it to you because you spent your hard-earned cash to back me on Kickstarter, so I want to deliver a good product for you. So there was a little bit of delay. We had to like rework some stuff for the dungeon map, but right now I'm very happy with the result. So everything is officially being printed, and the company, which is in China by the way, has promised me that they're going to be finished with printing in the middle of September. Now it is completely out of my hands. If the place burns down, it burns down, right? It's completely out of my hands. I just hope they can deliver on that promise in the middle of September. And what is going to happen after that? After that, the entire package with like everything is going to the United States of America, to Nord Games, because they're friendly enough to help me out to send all of the packages from American backers to their doorsteps, right? Because 80, maybe even 90% of backers from the Kickstarter are in the United States of America, so we're shipping everything there first. Nord Games is shipping everything in the United States of America and other parts of the world, and they're taking whatever is left and sending that either to the United Kingdom, to Joshua Perry, or to my physical address, and I will be sending everything within Europe, and Joshua will be sending everything within the United Kingdom. And the reason for us doing it that way is because of shipping and customs got really effing expensive in the last couple of years, mainly due to COVID, due to wars, and due to somebody parking his ship wrongly in the channel. It's been on the news, like world news, but all of that combined made that there's really high shipping prices and customs prices. So it's cheaper for customs for me to take a big package within Europe and paying customs on that than to actually have Nord Games sent all single packages to everybody in Europe, and everybody is going to have to pay customs on top of whatever they're already paying for shipping, which would become really expensive for you guys, and nobody wants that, so that's why we're doing that. So in the middle of September, everything should be printed, and it should be shipped from China all the way up to USA, and you will get yours. So it's almost there. So let's talk about why this project has taken a bit longer, a tiny bit longer than expected. I want to start off with saying an error that I made and that I take full responsibility for. Now, when you create a Kickstarter page, right, you're dragging in artwork and you're putting some text in order to actually sell your product, and you're building a trailer and putting that on your Kickstarter page, and you have this tagline and title and all that stuff. They actually ask you for an estimated delivery date. But we had no adventure, we had nothing. So I put in February of this year. Now, for the size that the adventure was going to be initially, we would have probably made that, or maybe like just not made it, maybe like February, like March or like April, something like that. But that was for the size that it was going to be. Because initially we were looking for 4,000 euros in order to make an adventure that was going to take you 2-3 sessions of just a proper nautical adventure that kind of tied in on another adventure Joshua Perry did. For me, at least it did. So we were looking for 4,000 euros. But you guys decided to band together and give us 27,905 euros. So almost 28,000 euros out of the 4,000 we were looking for. Now, what I should have done is I should have edited the estimated delivery date, but I didn't. I completely lost track of that, and that is my bad, and that is just the way it went, and I take full responsibility for that, and I apologize. Now, with those 28,000 euros, I could have done two things, right? I could have taken that money, kept the adventure what it was, and just do the adventure, send it to you guys, and just be happy with the money and go to Ibiza and have a little celebration with Joshua Perry, right? I could have done that. But I also could have, and that's the thing I did, added more value to the adventure for you guys with the stretch goals and even a ton of stuff we just put in because we wanted to put that in because we wanted to build an adventure that doesn't take you like 2 or 3 sessions, but if you as a dungeon master wanted to take more sessions, it could take you like 5, 6, in my case, maybe like 7 sessions, right? So let me elaborate on that one. We had stretch goals, and these stretch goals, creating all of these, take a lot of time because Kickstarter is, after all, crowdfunding. We didn't have anything ready other than the plan of the adventure. We still needed to write the bulk of the adventure. We needed to do all the Kickstarter, the micromanaging that went into it. And I just want to give you an idea what goes into that. First of all, the first stretch goal we made was Wally DM, Wally DM's Puzzle Room. Wally DM is a YouTuber who I'm a big fan of, who has this Wally DM journal of puzzle encounters. He's like the guy who does puzzle rooms, right? And it was my dream to have a puzzle room of his, custom made, into our adventure. So I asked him and he was like, yeah, I want to be a stretch goal. I really want to do that. So we made that stretch goal. But what that means is that I now need to create a dungeon that makes sense, need to talk about that dungeon with Wally DM, make him understand what we're trying to do, then wait for him to build a puzzle room that makes sense in our dungeon, then have that puzzle room edited and changed a few times because you want it to be really fit in with the dungeon. So there's a lot of back and forth there. You want to create art for that. You want to have you want to change the dungeon to have this extra room for this puzzle room. All of that takes a ton of time and writing from Wally DM. He's done, by the way, a really good job. The puzzle is spot on. It's amazing. Then there are player options. We reached a stretch goal where we were going to create player options. Now, as you know, player options are a really difficult thing to do because they get overpowered really quickly. So what we wanted to do was focus on player options that actually made sense in a nautical /undead /divine campaign that Isle of Dreaded Accursed is. So we created 2 player options, but creating player options is, first of all, doing a lot of math, doing a lot, like not crystal math, but like the math, like 1 + 1 is 2 kind of math. Then it involves doing a lot of playtesting, writing, rewriting, playtesting, writing, rewriting, all that stuff before you can actually put that in. That's more work for us, but again, more value for you because you backed this Kickstarter for, let's say you backed this Kickstarter for 20 euros for what was going to be a short form adventure of 2 to 3 sessions. Now, for your 20, the same euros, you are getting a extra puzzle room in the dungeon. You are getting player options for your players to actually build characters that make sense within the world, within the story. But there's also more interior art. We had custom art built for this adventure. And as you might know, some of the art is really like specific to the adventure in a sense that it plays out a scene. And in order to have that scene drawn by an artist, you really need to like communicate with that person. There's a lot of back and forth again with that person, like, can you draw this? And they try something and then you're like, it's more this, it's more that, it's more this, it's more that. And they keep drawing, they keep sending you stuff and you're communicating and talking to that person a lot, which takes away time to actually write the adventure. So that's, again, more interior art for you as a dungeon master to show to your players to actually set the scene, or for you as a dungeon master, like in your mind, like what the scene is supposed to look. There's also a stretch goal that's given you an extra side quest. Like, this is already a full mini campaign. That's what I'm calling it, because it's not a one shot. It's not like a full-fledged campaign. It's like a mini campaign. But it also has a side quest, and your players can actually choose to do that side quest, yes or no. And in order to do that side quest, there's like a lot of stuff the dungeon master needs to do, but the players can get a magic item from that side quest and take that to the Isle of Dreaded Accursed, and actually helps them out on the Isle of the Dreaded Accursed, which is more value to you as a dungeon master and your players. Also, we need to write the encounters for that. We need to write the entire side quest with the magic item, with everything. And then another thing which has taken me almost an entire session is the shipwreck. I really wanted this in. The shipwreck is kind of like an Assassin's Creed where you have these shipwrecks. In Act 2 of our adventure, the players are actually looking for the Isle of the Dreaded Accursed on the sea, and they encounter the shipwreck, and the shipwreck has a magic item, but the players need to go and grab that magic item from below the sea, right? But there's like an entire encounter built around that with jellyfish and mermaids. It's really deadly encounter, optional but deadly encounter, but it rewards the players with magic items. Now, we could have just written one magic item for that. No, what we did was we have a chest, and then you roll a d6 as a dungeon master, and you select from a table of 6 magic items, which is really cool for you as a dungeon master, because now the magic items will become kind of random, and all of these make sense in the story and help the players out in the eventual dungeon. But we now have written 6 magic items instead of just 1. We could have written just 1. This is the magic item the players find. No, we've written 6 for that, so you get a random rolling table, and you can use or reuse the other 5 in another adventure. Then there is we've written more magic items than we needed to, because we just wanted, for those 28,000 euros that we reached, we just wanted to build a really thorough mini campaign. Also, there are the NPCs. One of the goals, like one of the pledge levels of our Kickstarter, was actually to create your own NPC. We've put that in, and we didn't really expect anybody to take that, but 2 people took that, and we really worked with them in order to build NPCs. So we worked together to come up with a backstory, to come up with stats, and to come up with art for those NPCs, which takes more time to create. But of course, now your players can encounter those NPCs on the isle itself. There's already a lot of NPCs in Mountain Food, there's a lot of NPCs on the sea, but now there's also NPCs co-created by the players on the island itself. There are also more handouts. I've decided to do handouts for the menu that is in the Funky Fish Tavern. Like, one of the first places your players visit is the Funky Fish Tavern, and they have a really funny, like, semi-funny menu handwritten by the owner. I have that menu for you to print out to give to your players. So there's more handouts. There's the map, which has become bigger. All of that stuff takes a bunch of time to write, to actually come up with, and that takes away the writing of the actual adventure. And all of that stuff really adds to the length that this campaign has taken us to create and to now finally be in the printing stages. For example, another example is the Dreaded Dice. Like, not everybody has taken the Dreaded Dice, but a lot of people have ordered them, but they were a stretch goal and then an add-on. And I had a person who needed to create the files for those dice to get printed. I had another person who created a 3D render to put on the Kickstarter page in order to actually sell the freaking dice. And then I had to work with Q Workshop, who print the dice or whatever they do to create the dice. I'm going to just say print the dice. I had to like mail back and forth with them in order to get the prize and get it ordered and everything. So that took more time. But now we got a really cool set of dice that people ordered and to complete their collection. For like with the Dungeon Master screen, the map in the middle of the table, there's the handouts, and now there's also the dice. Now, long story short, I just decided, well, me and Joshua decided that we wanted to make the book that you're getting in your hands bigger, longer, better, and more useful for you as the end consumer, which sadly takes more time, and I could have communicated a little better to you. I just want to quickly add to that I refuse to rush my product to get it out on a certain date, because I am not EA Games. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is a few delays that happened that were completely out of my control and out of like anybody's control, really. The first thing is COVID. Now, I don't really like using COVID as an excuse, but reality is reality, and I work with tons of people to get this created. People who create the art, people who create the dice, people who print, people who edit, people who do the layouts, more people who write, and there's even more people that I'm probably forgetting. There's the people at Nord Games who helped me out with a bunch of stuff, the people in China who helped me out with a bunch of stuff, and a lot of those people either got COVID or had a family member that got COVID. And a lot of those people have a daytime job for themselves next to doing the stuff they did for me, meaning they got swamped with work from their job, from their families, and from everything, that it just took everybody a bit longer to actually get the work done they were doing for me, because some people were working from home and they weren't able to get everything done because of working from home, and got a lot of distractions. There was a lot of chaos because we've decided to do this thing in the middle of a global pandemic, which is that's kind of my fault, but still, there's a lot of people, there's COVID had a lot of say into a lot of delays from other people, which is out of my hands, but I also understand it because I am an understanding person. Now, the last thing I want to say is that from a European standpoint, working with China is a pain in the ass. Now, there is nothing wrong with the work that they do, because I have this book from Dream Realm Storytellers, which is a Turkish company that is really good, and this is actually the quality that they're printing, because this is the same printing company as that they're using, as well as the Dungeon Master Screen, which is really awesome. So I know they are delivering quality, and I know they're doing a good job, and they're extremely helpful and friendly, but there is just some standardization, if that is a word, that just doesn't work out. We've been sending files to them, and we've just been getting them back telling us they needed more other information, stuff. My layout artist told me I never been through this. We've been sending them files, and they've been sending them back, and we've been sending them files, and they've been sending them back, and they needed fonts, and they needed lines, and they needed other borders, and just the standards they use for printing, for their printers, for everything is the difference between the metric and the imperial system, right? So it just doesn't work out, and you really need to translate every bit of artwork and every bit of tags and everything you're doing from the European or whatever standard to the Chinese standard. That alone takes a crap ton of time. Emailing back and forth with me, with the printing company, me with the layout artist, and I just got completely crazy, but in the end it worked out. So it's safe to say that next time I'm printing locally. And that's basically it. Those are the main points why the Kickstarter, why the product, why the eventual adventure got delayed a few months. But I really feel that me and Joshua were able, and the entire team, by the way, are going to be able to deliver a really cool booklet to you guys with a cool Dungeon Master Screen, dice, maps, handouts, everything just makes sense. And I'm really proud of this first project that I'm doing, although it got a little bit delayed. The main reason being I just didn't move up the estimated delivery date. So yeah, that's just really on me, my big error. Now, the future is also bright because I'm working with none other than Wally DM and Dungeon Dad, the bigger YouTuber, to create the quintessential guide to monster encounters. Yes, we already have a preview page on Kickstarter, link in the description below. Make sure to click the notify me on launch button, because we could have already been able to launch it, but I decided not to because I wanted to really focus on getting the adventure out to you guys. But now I think we might launch the end of September, maybe start of the next month. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I'm not promising anything anymore, but make sure to click the link in the description below, follow it, and until next video, bye bye.